From choosing a husband to traveling by public transport, almost everything is forbidden for women in this country. Saudi Arabia is ranked 129th out of 134 countries in the ranking of gender discrimination. How do women actually live in a country where their rights are severely restricted? Which stereotype is true and which is just a myth? Now you can learn about the most unusual bans that local women have to live with in Saudi Arabia every day. Hello. I'm Min Wolf. And this is the Top 10 channel. In today's video, I brought you 10 things that are hard to believe but forbidden for Saudi women. First, they can't go anywhere without a Maram. Saudi women have no right to go anywhere without a husband or a male relative. The female attendant of women is called Maram. Without her approval, a woman cannot leave the country, take a job, get married, go to university, or even operate herself. If a woman has to go to the police, the Maram has to identify her and talk to her instead, as the woman cannot take off her hijab. Under such conditions, it is also impossible to complain to the Maram. But local women have no objection to that either. On the contrary, they actively defend their right to live under the rule of a man. Second, they cannot get a license. However, this will be a myth from the summer of 2018, as a number of new laws in the Gulf countries will help liberalize women. In September 2017, the Saudi king changed the law so that women already have the right to get a license and drive a car. The law came into force in June 2018. However, women still need permission from their supervisor to drive. Third, public transport is prohibited for them. Even if you can't drive, you can still use public transportation, right? Not quite for Saudi women. They can only travel in a separate car at the end of the train, and most bus companies refuse to carry women. Saudi women are therefore forced to go everywhere on foot, by taxi or with their driver. Fourth, they should wear black, loose clothing. When walking the streets of Saudi Arabia, women should cover their entire body, only their faces should be visible through an oval opening, and their hands and feet should be uncovered. Black abaya, long dress with sleeves, and hijab, used to cover the head, are the two pieces of clothing that women can wear. These should be made of thick material and it is important that they be loose-fitting so as not to allow the figure of women to be seen. This rule is where it is stricter to lighter, depending on the region. Fifth, it is not forbidden to go to university, but it is not necessary. Women can study, but only within very narrow limits. Aware of this, it is interesting that in Saudi Arabia, the proportion of women graduates is higher than that of men. But higher education is not nearly as good for women as it is for men. If a woman gets permission from her companion, she can also study abroad, but she will hardly get a scholarship. Most women study pedagogy or science, but typically do not work after college. Sixth, they don't work too much. Despite numerous reforms and the lifting of bans, the proportion of working women in the country is only 17%. This means that most Saudi women stay at home and take care of their children. Sharia does not forbid women from working until their family responsibilities see harm. If a woman wants to work, she needs the permission of a man. And the range of professions to choose from is not very wide. Women can be doctors, nurses, educators, but only as long as they can avoid meeting new men. Being a woman to be a politician or a lawyer is a rare exception. Seventh, can women get married out of love? Family ties are a sensitive issue in Saudi Arabia. Girls get married at a very young age, often before they are teenagers. This is why many women need to stop studying early. Early pregnancy and childbirth worsen their health and often cause their death. It is not mandatory when girls should be married. Forced marriages are usually prohibited, but a contract between the expectant husband and the bride's father is mandatory. Eighth, they can't open a door. Women are not allowed in the house. They can talk to their friends, but only in one half of the house. They do not have to follow dress codes at home. Guests can only enter the half of the house where the woman cannot enter. If the woman wants to say something to her husband, she can be reached by phone inside the house. This is why most houses have two entrances, one for the man and one for the woman. 9th. Boys to the right, girls to the left. Gender discrimination is one of the main principles in the lives of women in Saudi Arabia, helping to avoid contact with unknown men. Society is divided into male and female parts, not only at home but also in public places such as beaches, restaurants or public transport. The rule of segregation is especially strict in places where people eat. There are separate places designated for family members, bachelors and unmarried people. Big Western companies like Pizza Hut, McDonald's and Starbucks don't want to lose their guests, which is why they follow the rules and are therefore criticized by Western citizens. However, there are places where discrimination on the grounds of sex is not so strict, for example in hospitals, banks. 10th. Not all people are equal. If a woman testifies, half her word is worth as much as a man. In a lawsuit, a woman needs 6 male testimonies. And judgment is often made on the basis of tradition rather than law. In Saudi Arabia, a child whose father is a foreigner cannot acquire citizenship. And inheritance, men receive twice as much as women. In rural areas, women are completely excluded from inheritance. What do you think are the harshest bans for Saudi women? Write your answers in a comment. And if you liked the video, don't forget to like it and share it with your friends, and if you don't want to miss the next part, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Hello.
I'm so yours, baby. I'm so